Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, where we explore the miraculous and meaningful stories in the Bible together. Today we're going to dive into the story of Samson, a journey of faith, trials, and the wondrous guidance of God. Whether you're familiar with these stories or hearing them for the first time, I believe you'll find something to reflect on and be inspired by in your daily life. If you enjoy biblical storytelling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the upcoming videos. Samson, the strongest man in the Bible. During a time when the Israelites continuously sinned and turned away from God, he allowed them to be ruled by the Philistines for 40 years. In this dark period, in a rural village of the tribe of Dan, there was a man named Manoah whose wife was barren and had no children. One day, the angel of the Lord appeared to her in a field and said, "You will conceive and bear a son. This child will be set apart for God from the womb. Do not drink wine or eat anything unclean, for he will be a Nazirite dedicated to God, and he will begin to deliver Israel from the hands of the Philistines." The woman returned to tell her husband, and both trembled, realizing they were witnessing something holy. When the child was born, they named him Samson, which means sunlight. He grew up under God's favor, and the Spirit of the Lord stirred him from an early age. His extraordinary strength began to emerge. As a grown man, Samson set his eyes on a Philistine woman in the town of Timnah. Though his parents disapproved, preferring he marry an Israelite woman, Samson insisted, "Get her for me, for she pleases me." On his way to her house, a young lion suddenly sprang from the bushes and attacked him. But the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and Samson tore the lion apart with his bare hands, as easily as if it were a young goat, without a scratch on himself. A few days later, he returned to the spot and saw bees had made a hive in the lion's carcass. He took the honey, ate some, and gave some to his parents, though he didn't tell them about the lion. At the wedding feast, Samson challenged 30 companions with a riddle. Out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. If they solved it, he would give them 30 linen garments and 30 sets of clothes. But if they couldn't, they would owe him the same. When they couldn't solve it, they threatened Samson's bride. "Coax your husband into telling you, or we'll burn you and your father's house." Under pressure, she wept before Samson for the 7 days of the feast until he gave in and told her. She then revealed the answer to her people. When Samson heard them give the correct answer, he angrily said, "If you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have solved my riddle." He went to another town, killed 30 men, and took their clothes to pay his debt. Later, when Samson returned to take his wife, he found she had been given to his best man. In rage, he caught 300 foxes, tied their tails in pairs with burning torches, and released them into the Philistines' grain fields, vineyards, and olive groves, burning everything. The Philistines were furious and marched into Judah. They demanded the people of Judah hand Samson over. About 3,000 men from Judah went to the cave at Etam where Samson was hiding and pleaded with him to let them tie him up and surrender him to avoid bloodshed. Samson agreed, as long as they wouldn't kill him themselves. When they brought him to the Philistines, the Spirit of the Lord came upon him again. The ropes snapped like burnt flax. He grabbed a donkey's jawbone and, in a fierce battle, killed 1,000 Philistines. Exhausted and dying of thirst, he cried out to God, and water miraculously flowed from a rock crack, reviving him. Years later, Samson fell in love with a woman named Delilah in the valley of Sorek. The Philistine rulers bribed her with a huge sum of silver to uncover the secret of his strength. Samson tricked her several times, saying he'd be weak if tied with fresh bowstrings or if his hair were woven, but each time he broke free. Eventually, worn down by her daily pleading and torment, Samson's soul became weary, and he finally confessed, "If my head is shaved, I'll become as weak as any other man, for I am a Nazirite." While Samson was sleeping on Delilah's lap, she called in a man to shave his head, then cried out, summoning the Philistines. He awoke, thinking he could break free as before, not knowing the Lord had left him. He was captured, blinded, and shackled, taken to Gaza. There he was forced to grind grain like a slave. But his hair began to grow again. At a grand celebration in the temple of Dagon, thousands of Philistines, including their rulers, gathered to rejoice over capturing their greatest enemy. They brought in the blind Samson to entertain them. Samson said to the servant leading him, "Let me feel the two main pillars of the temple, so I can lean against them." Standing between the pillars, he prayed one last time, "Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please strengthen me just once more so that I may take revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes." Then with all his might he pushed the pillars, and the temple collapsed, killing about 3,000 people, including all the Philistine leaders. Samson died with his enemies, and his family took his body home and buried him in Zorah, the land of his father. Thank you for watching my video.